Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a small story. One day, a father took his son to visit a village. They stayed with a family who lived in a simple hut. On their way back, the father asked, "Son, did you see how poor they were?" The son smiled and replied, "No, Papa. I think we are poor. They have the stars at night. We have only lights. They have rivers. We have water bottles. They have time to sit together. We have schedules. They have family. We have only Wi-Fi. When life throws challenges at us, most of us are quick to look at the size of the problem rather than the possibility that lies behind it. Our minds are naturally tuned to see obstacles first because they are visible, immediate, and often overwhelming. But the truth is, every obstacle carries within it an opportunity, just like every seed contains a tree inside. The difference lies in how we choose to look at it. Let me share a simple story. A shoe company once sent two salesmen to a remote village to explore business opportunities. The first salesman arrived, looked around, and saw that nobody was wearing shoes. He immediately called his company and said, "This is a hopeless place. Nobody here even wears shoes. Don't waste time sending me more stock." The second salesman reached the same village, saw the same reality, and called his boss with excitement. "Sir, this is the best place to do business! Nobody has shoes here, which means everyone needs them. Please send me as many as possible." Now, what happened here? Both men saw the same situation, but their interpretation was completely different. One focused on the obstacle, the other on the opportunity. And that difference in mindset is what separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. In our daily lives too, we face similar situations. Imagine a student who fails an exam. One student might say, "This is the end. I am not good enough. I can't succeed." Another student facing the exact same failure may think, "This is my chance to find out where I went wrong. If I work harder, I can improve." The failure is the same, but one mindset ends in hopelessness and the other ignites determination. You see, problems are not punishments. They are teachers. The poor mindset often asks, "Why me? Why do I always suffer?" But the rich mindset flips the question and asks, "Why not me? Maybe this challenge was given to me because I have the strength to handle it." This small shift of thought transforms frustration into courage. Think about Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before creating the electric bulb. Someone asked him, "How do you feel about failing 10,000 times?" Edison calmly replied, "I have not failed 10,000 times. I have successfully discovered 10,000 ways that do not work." What a perspective! Where the world saw obstacles, Edison saw steps leading closer to success. That is the power of opportunity, focused thinking. In your own life, maybe you lost a job. At first, it feels like a dead end, an obstacle too big to overcome. But if you look closely, maybe it is life's way of pushing you toward a better path. Maybe it's the time to upskill, start a new career, or even open that small business you always dreamed of. Many people later say, "Losing that job was the best thing that ever happened to me." At the moment it hurts, but when viewed with the eyes of opportunity, it becomes a turning point. Another example, relationships. Sometimes when a friendship breaks or a person leaves, we get stuck in sorrow. We keep replaying the loss, asking, "Why did this happen to me?" But if you focus only on the obstacle, you miss the hidden opportunity. to learn resilience, to discover self-worth, to open space for better connections in life. Every ending carries a new beginning within it, but you only see it if you're looking for it. A poor mindset magnifies problems. A rich mindset magnifies possibilities. Imagine you're walking in the rain. A person with a poor mindset only complains, "Why is it raining? I'm getting wet. My shoes are spoiled." But someone with a rich mindset might look up and say, "How refreshing! Rain nourishes the earth, and maybe this is nature's way of cleansing." The rain is the same, but the experience is totally different depending on your lens. So the question is, what lens are you wearing? Are you wearing the lens of complaint or the lens of gratitude? The lens of excuses or the lens of possibilities? History is full of people who chose opportunities in obstacles. Think of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. What an unimaginable obstacle! Yet he came out not bitter, but better, ready to lead his nation. His prison became his classroom. His suffering became his strength. That is the magic of a rich mindset. It turns wounds into wisdom. In our personal lives too, opportunities are always disguised as problems. The child who struggles in school may become the most creative thinker later in life because he learns resilience. The person who battles illness may discover the preciousness of health and inspire others. The one who goes through rejection in love may become more compassionate toward others. Every difficulty carries a hidden gift. Next time you face a challenge, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is the opportunity here? What is life trying to teach me? You will be amazed to see that behind every obstacle is a doorway waiting to open. So, friends, remember these obstacles are not walls meant to stop us. They are doors meant to be opened. Those with a poor mindset see the wall and walk away. Those with a rich mindset search for the key, and when they open the door, they step into growth, progress, and fulfillment. Life will never stop giving us challenges. But whether those challenges break us or make us, that depends entirely on where we choose to focus, on the obstacle or on the opportunity. In life, one of the most dangerous sentences we can ever say is, "I already know this." The moment those words leave our lips, learning stops, growth stops, and opportunities slip away. You see, the poor mindset believes that knowledge is a destination. The rich mindset understands that knowledge is a journey, an endless road where every step reveals something new. Let me share a simple story. A cup filled to the brim cannot take in even a single drop of water. If you try to pour more, it simply overflows. In the same way, a mind that believes, "I already know everything," cannot absorb fresh wisdom. But a humble, open mind, like an empty cup, is always ready to be filled. In school, we may think education ends after exams. In college, we may believe graduation is the final stop. But have you noticed? The people who truly succeed in life are those who never stop being students. They keep reading, asking questions, attending seminars, observing others, and learning from every situation. That hunger for growth is the foundation of a rich mindset. Think of technology. Just 10 years ago, smartphones were still evolving. Today, everything has changed. Apps, social media, artificial intelligence. If someone said back then, "I know enough, I don't need to learn anymore," where would they be now? Outdated, left behind. But those who kept learning adapted, grew, and use technology to create opportunities. This applies not only to careers but also to relationships. Sometimes we think we know people completely, our spouse, children, friends. But the truth is, people evolve. If we stop learning about them, listening to them, and understanding them, relationships become stagnant. A husband who says, "I already know my wife," stops noticing her new dreams, struggles, and growth. A parent who says, "I know my child," misses the changes happening in their world. To keep relationships alive, we must remain students of each other. Another beautiful example comes from nature. Look at a river. It is always flowing, always moving, always changing direction according to the land. That's why it remains fresh and alive. Compare that with stagnant water. When water stops moving, it becomes dirty, smelly, and filled with mosquitoes. A learning mind is like a flowing river, ever fresh, ever alive. A knowing mind, stuck in arrogance, becomes stagnant. Many of us fear learning because it often requires humility. Imagine working in a company and a younger person, maybe 10 years younger than you, teaches you something new about technology. The poor mindset may feel insulted, saying, "What can this kid teach me? I'm experienced." But the rich mindset humbly accepts, age does not matter. Wisdom can come from anyone, at any time. In fact, some of the greatest lessons of life come from unexpected teachers. Children, for example, have so much to teach us. Innocence, curiosity, living in the moment. A child sees a butterfly and is filled with wonder. An adult sees it and says, "Oh, just another insect. Who is richer here?" The one who still knows how to learn. There's also a spiritual angle to this. Ancient scriptures often say that wisdom belongs to the humble. Why? Because humility keeps the door open for learning. Pride shuts it. The poor mindset wants to appear smart, while the rich mindset wants to become wise. And there's a big difference. Being smart impresses people for a moment, but being wise guides you for a lifetime. Think about Steve Jobs. He once said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." What did he mean? He meant, never think you've arrived. Always remain curious. Always remain a learner, even if others think you are foolish for asking questions. That hunger for learning is what allowed him to innovate, to create products that change the world. In your personal life too, ask yourself, are you more interested in showing people that you know, or in actually growing through learning? Sometimes we pretend to know everything in order to look confident, but deep inside, we remain the same. True confidence comes not from showing off what you know, but from constantly expanding it. And here's something very practical. Every failure in life is simply a classroom. When something goes wrong, the poor mindset blames others, complains, or quits. The rich mindset asks, "What can I learn from this?" That's why the rich mindset grows stronger with each setback, while the poor mindset remains stuck in the same mistakes again and again. Even in conversations, the difference is clear. A poor mindset talks more and listens less because it already knows. A rich mindset listens more because every person has a story, an experience, or an insight to share. Next time you meet someone, instead of rushing to talk about yourself, pause and ask them something meaningful. You may learn a life-changing lesson in that moment. The joy of learning is that it keeps us young, not in age, but in spirit. The moment we stop learning, we grow old, even if we are 25. And the moment we start learning again, we grow alive, even if we are 75. So, my friends, remember this life is not about arriving at a point where you can say, I know it all. It is about staying on a path where you can always say, I am open to learning more. Knowledge is like an ocean. No matter how much you drink, there is always more to discover. And the richer your mindset, the deeper your thirst for learning. One of the most powerful shifts that changes the direction of our life is moving from blame to responsibility. The poor mindset lives in the world of blame. It blames parents, teachers, the government, the economy, destiny, and even the weather for everything that goes wrong. The rich mindset, however, accepts responsibility. It asks, what can I do about this? How can I change my response, my effort, my attitude to turn this around? Blame is easy, responsibility is hard. But easy choices rarely build great lives. Hard choices do. Let me share a story. A young boy once tripped on a stone while walking and injured his knee. He sat there crying, looking at the stone, cursing it, shouting at it as though the stone was at fault. An old man passing by smiled and said, My dear child, the stone did not come to hit you. It was lying there long before you came. You didn't notice it, and that is why you fell. Instead of wasting your time blaming the stone, learn to watch where you walk. This is how life works. Obstacles will always be there. Situations will not always be in our control. But our responsibility is to notice, to prepare, and to respond wisely. Blame leaves us helpless. Responsibility makes us powerful. In daily life, you will see this difference clearly. Imagine two employees in the same office. Both are given a challenging project. One fails to deliver on time and says, My team didn't support me. The boss didn't give clear instructions. The company doesn't provide enough resources. That is blame. The other one, facing the same challenges, says, Yes, it was tough. But maybe I should have managed my time better. Maybe I could have communicated more. Maybe I need to learn new skills. That is responsibility. And you can already predict which employee will grow in their career. Blame is like handing over the keys of your life to someone else. If you blame traffic for being late every day, you are saying traffic controls your life, not you. If you blame the economy for your financial struggles, you are saying the economy holds your destiny, not you. But when you take responsibility, you take the keys back into your hands. You cannot control the traffic, but you can leave earlier. You cannot control the economy, but you can control your spending, your saving, your skills. Responsibility puts you back in charge. Think about relationships. When there is conflict, the poor mindset says, It's all your fault. You never understand me. You never listen. You never change. The rich mindset asks, Maybe I could have expressed myself better. Maybe I wasn't patient enough. Maybe I should listen more. Do you see the difference? Blame closes the door to improvement. Responsibility opens it wide. Blame pushes people apart. Responsibility brings people closer. There is also a deeper wisdom here. When you blame, you stay stuck in the past. When you take responsibility, you move toward the future. Imagine someone whose car breaks down in the middle of the road. One person sits there shouting, This company makes bad cars! The mechanic last time didn't do his job. Why does this always happen to me? Another person, instead of wasting time blaming, simply calls for help, pushes the car aside, and starts looking for a solution. One is trapped in complaint, the other is moving forward. Blame feels satisfying for a moment because it gives us an excuse, but it steals our power in the long run. Responsibility feels heavy at first because it forces us to look in the mirror, but it gives us freedom and growth in the long run. Let me share another example. Imagine two students who fail an exam. One says, "The teacher was unfair, the questions were tricky, the paper was too hard." The other says, "I didn't prepare enough. I didn't manage my time well. I need to improve my study habits." Which student do you think will succeed in the future? The one who blames the system or the one who takes ownership? Even great leaders throughout history show this quality. When Mahatma Gandhi faced struggles during India's independence movement, he didn't waste his energy blaming the British for everything. He said, "We must become the change we wish to see." That is responsibility. Nelson Mandela, after 27 years in prison, could have come out blaming the government, blaming society, blaming the people who wronged him. But instead, he took responsibility for uniting his country, healing the wounds, and building a new future. That is greatness born out of responsibility. In small everyday things too, responsibility transforms life. If you fall sick because of unhealthy eating, you can blame the food industry, advertisements, restaurants, or you can take responsibility. I chose to eat this way. I can choose differently. If your finances are unstable, you can blame your employer for not paying enough, or you can take responsibility to learn new skills, start a side business, or manage your expenses better. If your mood is low, you can blame the people around you for being negative, or you can take responsibility for your own thoughts, your own practices of gratitude, meditation, and positivity. Responsibility is not about taking the blame for everything. It is about taking ownership of your response. That's why the word itself is so meaningful. Responsibility, the ability to choose your response. Life will never be free of problems. But the moment you say, "I am responsible for how I respond," you step into a richer, stronger, and more empowered way of living. So, my friends, next time you feel like pointing a finger, pause and look at your own hand. When one finger points outward, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. That is life's gentle reminder. Instead of waiting for others to change, start by changing yourself. Instead of blaming circumstances, take charge of your choices. Instead of complaining about the rain, carry an umbrella. Blame weakens you. Responsibility strengthens you. Blame keeps you a victim. Responsibility makes you a creator. And in the end, only those who take responsibility write their own story of success, happiness, and fulfillment. Life becomes truly meaningful, not by how much we take from it, but by how much we give back to it. Consumption is natural. We all need food, water, shelter, comfort, and entertainment. But when life revolves only around consuming, we end up feeling empty inside. True joy, fulfillment, and legacy come from contribution, from adding value to someone else's life, from being the reason someone smiles, learns, heals, or grows. Think about the sun. Every morning, it rises not asking for anything in return. It gives light, warmth, and energy. Trees do the same. They don't eat their own fruits. They produce fruits for others to eat, shade for others to rest, oxygen for others to breathe. Nature thrives on contribution, not consumption. And when we align our lives with this principle, we begin to taste a deeper form of happiness. Imagine two people. One spends the entire day consuming, watching shows, scrolling on the phone, eating junk food, shopping endlessly, thinking only of personal pleasures. At the end of the day, such a person often feels tired, drained, even dissatisfied. The other person, on the same day, helps a friend, teaches a child, shares some food with the needy, or creates something of value. At the end of the day, that person feels alive, purposeful, and satisfied. Both lived the same 24 hours, but the difference was in what they gave. Even in daily life, contribution does not always mean money. A kind word, a listening ear, a small act of service, or sharing your knowledge can mean more than any material gift. Think of a teacher. A teacher spends hours preparing lessons, explaining, repeating, and guiding students. Many times it is tiring and demanding. But years later, when a student returns and says, "Because of you, I learned, I grew, I changed," the teacher realizes that no amount of consumption could ever give that kind of joy. Take the example of parents. From the moment a child is born, parents give time, energy, money, sleepless nights, care, and love. Do they always feel comfortable? No. Do they always receive equal return? No. Yet they continue to give. And the happiness they find in seeing their child grow cannot be matched by any amount of self-centered consumption. Contribution also works in the smallest gestures. Holding the door open for someone, offering your seat on a bus, smiling at a stranger, or sharing a meal with a colleague. These acts may seem small to you, but for the other person, they may mean the world. Life's beauty often lies in these simple, quiet contributions that lift someone else's spirit. On the other hand, a consumption-driven life becomes heavy. You might have the best gadgets, the fanciest meals, the most luxurious clothes, but if everything is only for you, eventually you feel an inner emptiness. This is why so many celebrities, despite their wealth and fame, still seek charity work, social causes, or ways to give back. They realize that consuming alone cannot fill the heart. Contribution does. There is a story about a candle. A man once lit a candle in a dark room. The candle gave light to everyone around. Someone asked, "Don't you feel sad that your wax is melting away?" The candle replied, "I was created for this. My purpose is to give light, not to sit unused in comfort." In the same way, our lives find true purpose when we are willing to melt a little, to brighten someone else's path. Think about your workplace. If you focus only on what can I get, salary, benefits, recognition, you may always feel unsatisfied. But if you shift your mindset to what can I contribute, ideas, solutions, encouragement, effort, you suddenly become more valuable, more respected, and ironically, more rewarded. Contribution is the secret door to abundance. Even spiritually, the idea of contribution stands strong. Every faith, every philosophy teaches the joy of giving, whether it's charity, service, compassion, or kindness. Consumption feeds the body, but contribution feeds the soul. Contribution does not diminish us, it multiplies us. Share knowledge, and you don't lose it, it grows. Share love, and it comes back to you stronger. Share time, and the memories you create will outlive you. Contribution is like planting seeds. You may not eat the fruit today, but someone else will, and that fruit carries your legacy forward. Consider the example of great leaders and innovators. People remember them not because of how much they consumed, but because of how much they contributed. Whether it was wisdom, inventions, courage, or sacrifices. Their lives echo through generations because contribution has a ripple effect. One good deed inspires another, and soon the whole world feels the impact. Even in personal happiness, contribution outweighs consumption. Studies show that people who volunteer, give charity, or help others regularly have lower stress levels, better health, and greater life satisfaction. Giving releases joy that consuming cannot match. Think about the last time you gifted something meaningful to someone. Didn't their smile give you more happiness if you had bought the same thing only for yourself? Life is short, and when our final day comes, nobody will measure us by how much we consumed. They won't say, he watched 1,000 movies, ate 1,000 meals, or bought 100 outfits. They will remember us by how much we gave, how many lives we touched, and how many hearts we warmed. Contribution is what writes our story into the hearts of others. So every day, ask yourself, not just, what can I take today? But, what can I give today? It doesn't have to be big. Sometimes, the smallest contribution carries the deepest meaning. A gentle word may heal a broken heart. A small donation may save a life. A little encouragement may help someone chase a dream. Consumption may fill your stomach, but contribution fills your soul. And when the soul is full, life feels abundant, no matter what the bank balance looks like. 6 is a number that carries the vibration of harmony, responsibility, and care. It is the number that speaks about love expressed through action, of balance between giving and receiving, of nurturing not just ourselves but the people around us. Just as a honeycomb is built of 6 sides, perfectly symmetrical, holding sweetness and strength, 6 teaches us that life becomes meaningful when we live with compassion, when we create harmony in our surroundings, and when we balance duty with love. Look closely at nature, snowflakes, honeycombs, even crystals, so many of them hold the shape of 6. This is no coincidence. It is a reflection that nature itself values the power of 6. It is the number of structure and beauty, of strength that comes from perfect balance. Just as the bee works tirelessly to fill each 6-sided cell with honey, we too are reminded that our daily responsibilities, even the smallest ones, create the sweetness of life. In family, 6 takes on a very special meaning. Think about a strong family bond. It rests on love, respect, sacrifice, patience, support, and time. These 6 qualities are like invisible threads holding people together. If one thread breaks, the bond begins to loosen. But when all 6 are present, the relationship becomes unshakable. A mother's care, a father's guidance, a child's innocence, these reflect the essence of 6. It is about building a safe space where everyone feels nurtured and valued. In our daily routine too, 6 guides us quietly. If you divide your day, you will notice how it often flows in 6 phases. Early morning, when we rise, mid-morning, when we prepare, afternoon, when we work, evening, when we reflect, late evening, when we connect, and night, when we rest. Each phase is important. Skipping one disrupts the natural balance. 6 tells us that life has rhythm, and honoring that rhythm brings peace. Consider the 6 directions: north, south, east, west, up, and down. They remind us that life is not one-sided. There are always many perspectives, many possibilities. Sometimes we are too focused on only one direction, forgetting the others. But 6 reminds us to open our mind and heart, to see beyond just one view, to recognize that balance comes when we acknowledge every direction of life. In personal growth, 6 speaks of balance between responsibilities and self-care. Many people either lose themselves in duty and forget their own needs, or they chase their desires and neglect the people around them. But 6 whispers the truth. Real fulfillment is found in harmony. Taking care of your family while also nurturing your own dreams, working hard while also resting, giving love while also receiving it. That is the wisdom of 6. Think about a candle with 6 flames burning around it. Each flame represents a part of your life: health, family, career, relationships, spirituality, and personal joy. If even one flame goes out, darkness starts to creep in. But when all 6 flames are lit, your life glows with light and warmth. 6 is the reminder to never neglect one part while focusing only on another. Balance creates beauty. In challenges, 6 gives courage. Imagine someone facing a problem. What do they need? They need clarity, courage, patience, creativity, faith, and action. These 6 responses become their tools. Without clarity, they are confused. Without courage, they hesitate. Without patience, they quit too soon. Without creativity, they miss solutions. Without faith, they lose hope. Without action, nothing changes. But when all 6 are alive within, the storm can be faced with strength. Even in success, 6 leaves its mark. To achieve something meaningful, one must have vision to see the goal, discipline to stay consistent, effort to work hard, wisdom to make the right choices, humility to stay grounded, and gratitude to celebrate. These 6 qualities together form the path to lasting achievement. Success built on only 1 or 2 will not last. It is the combination of all 6 that makes it powerful. In friendships too, 6 reveals its beauty. Think about what makes a true friend: loyalty, honesty, fun, support, forgiveness, and understanding. Without even one of these, the bond feels incomplete. But when all 6 are present, friendship becomes a safe harbor, a place where you can laugh, cry, and be yourself without fear. 6 is the soul of companionship. Daily inspiration can also be found in 6. For example, think about practicing 6 simple habits every day: waking up with gratitude, speaking kindly, helping someone, learning something new, caring for your health, and reflecting before sleep. These 6 acts may seem small, but together they transform your days into meaningful journeys. 6 is not just about responsibility, it is about love in action. It is not the love of words only, but of deeds. It is setting the table for your family, listening when someone is sad, supporting a friend, or giving your best at work. These actions are often unnoticed, yet they build the foundation of happiness. Like the 6 sides of a honeycomb, each action may look small, but together they create a structure strong enough to hold sweetness for a lifetime. In truth, 6 is the number of harmony, of balance, of service, and of love. It teaches us that life is not about running endlessly in one direction, but about caring for all the directions that matter. It tells us that true greatness is not in power or wealth, but in how well we nurture, how well we balance, and how well we love. So, whenever you see 6, let it remind you that life is meant to be lived with responsibility and compassion. with balance and care. It is the number that whispers. Be strong like the honeycomb. Be kind like the nurturing hand. Be steady like the 6 directions that hold the world. Because in the harmony of 6, life finds its true beauty, its true meaning, and its lasting peace. My friends, whether you live in a palace or a hut, whether you wear a Rolex or no watch at all, remember this: wealth is first built in the mind before it is built in the bank. Change your mindset, and life changes automatically. So next time you see a challenge, don't ask, "Why is life so hard?" Instead say, "Maybe this is life's way of making me rich." Not just in money, but in wisdom, courage, and joy.